Hey guys, just before we start, I want to say a huge thank you to Skoda, who have sponsored the episode and sent me down in this beautiful looking wagon. Before we also start, I want to ask you to kindly hit subscribe and follow whatever platform you're listening on. Every follow helps, and make sure that we can partner with awesome brands like this and interview amazing people like Millie Bright. Hey Millie, how you doing?
Hello mate, how are you?
Yeah, lovely to meet you.
And you?
Hey, thanks for this.
No worries.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Cool, let's bounce. Oh wait, grab. You're gonna need this.
Thank you.
Millie, thank you very much for joining me on Headstrong.
worries.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Just finished training, bit hot.
Very hot. Us Brits, we're all looking like lobsters after 2 days of sun.
Yeah, can't help it, can't help it. Right, I've got to get straight down to it. This is crunch time for you. End of the season, 2 games to go, 2 big games to go.
Yeah.
And both away. How are you feeling?
Yeah, really excited. I don't think there's been a season where it's not gone down to the wire. All in different scenarios, whether it's goal difference, need to win. So yeah, I think we've really experienced everything, and every title's been different. And yeah, for us it's business as usual. We need to win every game to win. I think that's any top team, that's the mentality you have to have going into seasons. But yeah, 2 away games, 1 not so far away, local rivals.
Yeah.
And then obviously United on the last game of the season. So yeah, it's really exciting. But yeah, pressure's on.
And it's been a tough time in camp, to be fair, with some, as you say, high stakes games, but ultimately not going your way.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going into this still with a huge opportunity with the league to go. How do you kind of deal with that, the losses, but then kind of move on, compartmentalise and build up to what is still super exciting and a great opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think, listen, it comes with experience as well. I mean, I've been at the club for 9 years, and like I said, we've experienced many titles and many different trophies, so each journey is very different. And this year we had a bit of a newer squad and, you know, different hurdles that we had to overcome. The announcement of Emma departing, big injuries.
And yours?
Yeah, and then, you know, different players having to step up and leadership in different areas. So as a team, I think we've overcome probably the most we've ever done in one season. And it felt like a little bit one after the other. So mentality is the biggest thing. It's a game changer. It's the difference between winning and losing. And I think having that experience is, you know, we've always stayed switched on, and yes, we were given a second chance in the league with City losing, but we were ready to step up and take advantage of that. And I think we've developed that over the years for sure.
I'm interested to know twofolds. First of all, how do you manage pressure on such high stakes, important games? And then what about Chelsea as a team?
Personally, it's preparation for me. My preparation doesn't change. I train the same every single day, whether it's, you know, one opponent to another. Every game for me is the same. Whether it's a final, you know, it doesn't matter to me. It's a game of 90 minutes, and I need to be prepared. And I actually go into every game with 3 aims, which I send my partner. And for me, in the chaotic moments, I go back to those 3 things, and it just keeps you, yeah, it gets you out of the sticky situations. And I always have, you know, an aim and a target, and mentally that keeps me in the right place. Again, I think it comes with experiences over the years, and maybe things not going the way you always want them to go, and then me having to learn my journey and what I need to do, and that's when I then develop my 3 aims. But yeah, that comes with, you need the bad experiences to know kind of where you went wrong a little bit. And as a team, it comes from Emma. You know, we've got a really stable leader that sets us up for these experiences. She prepares us. She always says, I'm always preparing you for the worst so that you can handle it, 1 as a group and 2 as an individual. So whether that's in training, whether it's bad refereeing, which happens quite a lot by the staff. But yeah, even in training situations, we're so competitive as a group, and when the refereeing is not always going well, that's us preparing for maybe what's to come in the games. So yeah, just different situations. So for me, it's just daily behaviours. Like it's not something that you can just turn on. Like you have to be prepared every single day. So that the games are no different.
I think you're right. You've just got like a blueprint. You know what works, and as you say, don't take it as a final or it's the end of the season,
Yeah.
it's like actually game by game, that is how you do it. You just stick to your
Just building
instructions.
blocks.
Yeah, your
Everything's
building blocks.
adding up to something, and
Yeah.
we built our foundation many years ago. And I'd like to say every new player that comes to Chelsea knows what we represent and what we're about, and kind of the DNA of being a blue and being a Chelsea player. So I'd
Was
like
blue
to
your
say
colour
that's-
before you came?
Actually, it was partly in the Doncaster kit, so yeah.
Okay,
it
fine.
Was, yeah, I've always wore blue. I can say that.
Okay, that's good.
Some of their kits were red as well. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always admired, you know, everything that the club represented. And
Yeah.
John Terry was my idol and someone that I looked up to. And yeah, he was obviously an absolute icon in the game and Chelsea player. So yeah, I knew what the club was about before I even got here.
So you mentioned quite literally what the pillar of stability that is Emma. What's that like now, knowing that there is a finite amount of time left having her around? Is everyone trying to get little nuggets out of her? Is she still like a, you know, she's still there as support, but is there also that anxiety of her departing?
I think, listen, with change always, you know, there's different emotions with change, but change doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It doesn't always have to be a negative, and I just see it as, you know, you just turn in a page in the chapter and we're moving on to a different section of the story now almost. So yeah, for me, you almost get a little bit of excitement because change comes with, it's a clean slate, it's, you know, new manager, new ways, and you have to adapt to that as a player, and you'll be challenged in different ways. And for me, that's what football is all about. It's the, you know, you never expect something. It's always different day to day. A game you can never predict. A game changes every minute. So yeah, but of course, when you've played under someone for 9 years, it's, yeah, I don't think I've processed it fully. I think I'll do that at the end of the season because there's no time for that emotion to get involved. We've got, you know, 2 important games, and I think my role's been a little bit different this year as well anyway, so I've had a few things to juggle with, but the team is always the priority.
Win or lose, are there any big plans that you know about, or is that hush-hush? There must be kind of like a Super Bowl Powerade winning moment at the end, win or lose. Surely we've got a dunker.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, you yourself are a leader. What are the key qualities of Emma that you admire as a leader?
I think she zooms out of the sport, and I think firstly we're people, and we're treated as people, as opposed to just seeing us as players and athletes and robots. Like, she treats us as human beings, and that for me is a big thing. That's why I stay in one place, because if I feel at home and I feel comfortable and I feel like everyone's got each other's backs and we're all working together, then she really has created a family environment. And I always say a happy camp is the best camp, because if you're willing to give me an extra 5%, I'll give it back. So yeah, I think in the tough moments, you need to be able to rely on the people around you. So I think like people skills is, yeah, the best I've ever come across, and just the appetite to win and improve. She's been at the club, what, 11, 12 years, and every single season has just been equally as competitive, if not more. And no matter how many trophies you win, it's, like I said, the journey's never the same. And just to be able to have that appetite to keep winning, like we're 4-time back-to-back champions in the WSL. So to keep doing that and to then pass that appetite on to the players, like, I find that incredible. And even like the way she pushes her staff and the players, like, she's able to keep motivating a group and to keep so many players in one place for so long. That for me speaks volumes on the culture that she has created. And
it's been so exactly, that's why you've stayed for so long,
yeah,
having
exactly.
that, and you've obviously, as skipper, built such an incredible relationship with her yourself. With you as the leader, then in the next steps, do you feel like, you know, whoever's next, what is next season, taking the reins slightly more as well, because you've got, you know, it's a lot of responsibility with Emma leaving.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've got a very open-minded group. I think we've got a set of girls that, you know, the Chelsea DNA will live on way past our time, and that's the role of being a player here. Is, you know, you leave the shirt in a better place and you represent it in the right way. So, of course, change will happen, and that comes with many different things. But again, you just have to adapt, and it's about keeping the squad together. And while ever the culture's in the right place, change will be easy to overcome.
Yeah.
And with the right mindset again, as always. But yeah, listen, we've got a fantastic group of players and staff, so I know that we'll adapt and thrive with that change as well, because
Absolutely.
like I said,
change can be good.
exactly, and every single year we've developed and improved, even when you're in the same place for so long, and that is for me a massive key of why I've always stayed.
How do you, final question about leadership, how do you yourself help lift the team when there's been a bad experience? Because people, of course, it's a human emotion. All you can do is you're going to feel down when you've had a big loss. What is it that builds team morale again, and how do you lift people up yourself as that skipper?
Contagious energy. I find it hard not to be that way. I think I'm a very bubbly person anyway, and yeah, if you tell me to be quiet, I'd probably struggle to be that way. So
that's good for a podcast.
Very. But yeah, contagious energy, and again, going back to the standards every single day and the behaviours every single day. And if I'm living out those, which I always would, because I expect that of myself, then others will follow, and just demanding that. And listen, you have to give the players time to settle their emotions, and you also need to process the losses. But in the game that we play, we are normally fighting for a lot of trophies, which requires us to play every 3 days. So we've had to learn very quickly that you can't dwell on things, and we've been through experiences where we have, and then it's affected the next game. But now it's like, okay, you lose, you reflect, you process your emotions, you go again immediately. Like there's no time. So then it's my job to make sure in training, you know, we're all on it, we're giving each other energy. And again, that's a big thing when you've hit a bit of a rocky patch, which this year's been extremely tough. We've used each other to get energy, and that's all team sport for me. But yeah, mine is just contagious energy and daily behaviours. Is firstly I'm doing it, and then the team.
So you wear this pressure a lot, though. How do you switch off? When you get home, how do you step out of football? Because actually, as you say, you're a human. You've got to actually compartmentalise that side of things. What do you do?
Probably have a rant to Levi. And
what good partners for?
Yeah, bore him to death with all of my stresses in the day, and he's like, "Your job's not stressful; it's football." He reminds me very nicely every day. So
it brings you back down to earth.
It's good to debrief. I think I do. Having, you know, a partner that allows me to do that, and he understands sport and he understands elite sport, so it's good for me to have that outlet. And we've got 3 little dogs, so exploring, dog walking.
What dogs have you got?
I've got a Frenchie and 2 miniature dachshunds. So yeah, we love taking them out, and even just opening the door, they never judge you, they never tell you you're rubbish.
Unconditional love.
Like, they just see you as the parents, and they're always happy to see you. So yeah, those, and coffee lover. So yeah, going out for coffee. And
what's your order?
Space. I have a flat white, sometimes caramel syrup, so a little bit of sweetness. But yeah, just my own space as well. Like, as much as I love being in and around the girls and bubbliness, I also do like my own space, just to breathe a little bit and get all the voices out of my head. So
it's really important. Now let's rewind to growing up then. Who, we talked about there, John Terry, someone you really looked up to and admired, but who were the role models in your life?
Oh, always my mum. I know everyone probably says that, but that's how I'm brought up, is a big part of who I am as a person and kind of what I've achieved today. So yeah, my parents, both of them, to be honest. My dad, his toughness, how he deals with 3 daughters, and my mum is beyond me. And yeah, just the amount of work he puts in to reap the benefits, I've kind of got that work ethic from him. And then just, yeah, my mum's always been my biggest fan, and just the sacrifice that they've made. Obviously, I don't think people have to make them now, because the game has moved on so much, which is fantastic. But, you know, for my generation growing up, we had to, you know, your parents had to make sacrifices, get to training, or, you know, provide, you know, paying for your treatments elsewhere because you were semi-pro. All these different factors. So, and I didn't really have that many females to look up to, because the game wasn't quite there yet. So I think it's different for the generation now. But yeah, it would definitely be my mum and dad's. And then obviously, as you start getting more involved with the game, start watching JT, and then yeah, just his presence, leadership, and just the way he handled himself. Like, he's just, yeah, his aura, and you could feel the team were just working off that if he absolutely crunches someone and someone else does it. So, yeah, I see myself pretty similar to him.
What is it about football when you were younger, and obviously the team sport, that you found so enticing?
I was actually rubbish. Like, I always said this, like, I had all the energy, just the crazy kid running around, very chaotic, just bundles of energy. Couldn't kick it with my left foot to save my life. Dad's like, shoot between the goals, Mill.
Which one?
So yeah, I think the fact that I was so competitive and I wasn't good at something, I needed to keep doing it. But honestly, the biggest thing was playing with my friends and the girls and just being in that. I love being in like a team environment, and I'd say I'm a bit of a helper. I like helping people. So just being in that was, yeah, kind of all the factors coming together of why I played football. That's what I love. And then yeah, as you get older, you learn to. I think I've got an addictive personality where if I'm not good at something, I have to keep doing it until I'm good. But football, you almost never reach the top. You can always be better and kind of always push yourself. So yeah, but ultimately I just love being in and around people, the atmosphere that comes with that. It's, yeah, now looking back, you've got friends for life.
You talked about how lovely your family was and is in terms of how much they support you. When you were younger though, did you ever talk about mental health? Did you ever go through kind of, you know, there were some serious challenges, as you say, getting into the game at that time. I know it's moved on now, but did you talk about mental health?
No, I didn't actually speak about it until Emma forced me to. I think I always bottled everything in, to be honest. I think I always perceived it as being weak if I did speak out. And I kind of just tackled everything on my own, kind of poker face, didn't let anyone see it. And I'd have moments on my own, of course. But yeah, I never really spoke about that. And then I remember my first conversation with Emma one season and my head was about to explode. Like, I had so many different factors, whether it was home life, family things, you know, football, the pressure of coming to a professional environment for the first time. And she was like, you look like you're going to explode, like, are you all right? And then she was like, I kept saying, yeah, I'm fine. And it's one of the moments where your partner says, are you all right? And you go, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, no, you're not fine. And then I finally just opened up about everything. And that's why I always say Emma's been a life coach to me as much as a manager, because she's, you know, helped me learn to say if you're not okay, or yeah, it doesn't make you any weaker as a person. If anything, it makes you stronger. Admitting, you know, that maybe you're not having a good day or something's getting the better of you, and, you know, just having that person to explain to. I always felt guilty for putting on other people. So yeah, she taught me a lot in that scenario, and then since then I've really embraced it and yeah, tried to be a good role model for everyone out there to say if you're not all right, it's okay to be that way as well.
Do you think subconsciously when you were growing up and younger that being part of that team and playing sport was hugely beneficial for your own kind of mental health?
Yeah, for me, football's always an outlet. Like, it's the place where all the little voices go out of your head. You don't worry about, you know, anything at all. Like, when we were younger growing up, there were, you know, I was playing semi-pro and working 2 other jobs, and I get on that training pitch and everything goes out the window. Nothing else is relevant. So it always has been my escape place, which is, again, why the environment for me is so important, because it is my little sanction. So the minute the culture's not right, then my sanction disappears. But yeah, I think football's the best place for me to be.
You also loved your horses growing up. And still do, I assume. Yeah, of course. Was that ever an option as a career? I mean, that must also be another place where you feel exactly the same as kind of football. Sure. Like, it's your sanctuary. You're usually with your friends or family. You're outside a lot of the time. Was that ever an option as a career?
Yeah, horses were my first love. I know everyone says football was theirs, but no, horses was mine. And I did both together. I was a full-time groom whilst playing at Doncaster, and I was just about to go into my teaching qualifications, which would have been my career whilst competing. And that's when then Chelsea came knocking on the door, and I had to kind of put a hold to that. Football's a short career. You've got to do it whilst, you know, you're young. So I will go back to that. But again, yeah, the horse is my sanction. It's not just a hobby. It's a part of our lives. Both my sisters rode as well. My mum did. They've still got the yard now. So yeah, we've literally had them. I mean, I started riding when I was 1.
Great.
So yeah, they're a massive part of my life. But yeah, hopefully I will go back to that once football's done. I'm not allowed to ride whilst I'm a professional footballer.
Oh, really? Part of the contract?
Just in case of injuries. Yeah, you
makes sense, of course.
Any extreme sports outside of football. So although I would trust myself, like, of course, I back myself riding to a high level. So, but yeah.
Then you must miss it then a lot.
Yeah, it's so annoying. When I first probably silos used to jump on now and again, and then Mum would be like, get off. But I'd be like, yeah, I'm a bit of a risk taker.
No, not anymore, Emma, I promise. So we've talked about it briefly, but let's talk about those opportunities growing up and what football looked like back then. And you talked about your parents making sacrifices, taking you to training. What was the infrastructure like if you wanted to get into football, not just playing it with your mates in a park, but take it to that next level, particularly for young girls and women?
Oh God, I joined by mistake. I joined on the off chance. I was a very active kid, and one of my best friends, Jasmine, was going to train at the local team, and I joined in for £1, so it was better than watching and being bored. And then the manager came back with the papers, and that was me. That was my intro into football.
Wow.
And then we were just a local team. We were all friends, all the girls. Like we all, we're all together anyway. And then Dynamos was my first team, and from there it just grew and grew. And I think I've always been a part of teams that are always looking to get better and to work hard and to maybe start at the bottom and build our way up. So I think I've always appreciated the hard work that goes in behind the scenes, and kind of built my way up the ladder as opposed to going in at the high end, if you like. But I'm proud to say that the opportunities now and the visibility is there, and kind of seeing the game grow as well, and how far we've come in the women's game, whether that's facilities, how young girls get into football, the numbers are like through the roof, the crowds.
It's amazing.
It's phenomenal to see. And
again, you've been at the kind of forefront of that transition. Do you feel like a responsibility that you're kind of help pushing and carrying the women's game for its growth?
Yeah, I think we all do. I think we all appreciate where we've come from and what all the players from the past have done to. Everyone's played their part in getting the game to where it is now, and I think everybody appreciates that, and that's something that we don't ever want to forget. I think even with the next generation coming through, we want everyone to understand where the game has come from and the hurdles that we've had to tackle to get to where we are. And I've always said from day dot that every player has a responsibility to grow the game, because it's not just about the players playing now, it's the next generation, and if we do our job right, they won't have to fight for what we have. And I always see it evolving like that, and for me that is everyone's responsibility to do.
And when you were in that time, when you were about to, you were semi-pro at the time, you weren't quite professional, were there ever days when you were nearly quit? You were there and you're working multiple jobs. I know that I've heard you talk about this, and it's late nights and then early mornings and it's on repeat. Was there ever a time like that?
Yeah, there's been several, and even in your professional career, you go through some rough times, the expectation. I think as the game grows, it's not only the expectation from the team, but then it's the outside, like the fans and everything else, and the whole world's, you're expected to perform, and sometimes you do feel like a bit like a robot, like we aren't indestructible, like we are human beings at the same time. And I think that place can be very hard, or it could be not playing, or you make a big mistake in a World Cup. And I remember getting sent off in not the World Cup just gone, the one before, I got sent off in the semi-final, and that was my first red card for England. And it's that sense of you've let the team down, then you've let the fans down, and then it's like, oh my God, all the grief that I'm going to get and everything and that does happen. Like, that's the sad side of football, is kind of the trolling that takes place, and that can make or break a player. So I've definitely had many moments where I'm like, oh, why do I do what I do? The sacrifice that you make, you miss your nephew's first birthday, we have to sacrifice those moments that you're meant to cherish in life, but then you go and lift a trophy and it makes it all worthwhile. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is like you're toying with your thoughts a little bit, and I think it's normal to have those thoughts. I guess it's the same just in a different job where you have really tough times, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll change jobs or whatever it might be. But sometimes it takes its toll on you, but you just need to hit reset and talk yourself through it, get the support that you need. And I think I'd be lying if I definitely haven't experienced that a couple of times.
You talk about support there. I know that in the football world that you are in, there is that luxury of having the support staff, the coaches, and to an extent, sports therapists like that. What's your relationship like with therapy and indeed talking about that?
It's been a journey. I've always found it hard to open up to people, especially people that I don't really know.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're all right. I've got better at it now. But yeah, I think for me, I always felt like I needed to trust someone before I could open up to him, because then I'd be like, oh, the judgment's coming, or maybe I'm going to go through all this process and then nothing good comes of it. And I think that's developing that relationship with them has been, you know, a really good thing, and it's helped me a lot. I don't really speak to family, I must admit, because I'd say Levi's my biggest outlet, really. I know he's my fiance, but yeah, he understands me better than anyone, and I still hate to put on people, but there's so much out there where people can go and get that support and talk to. And I actually found writing a journal was my biggest thing. Me and Rachel, my best friend, we did it in every tournament. We wrote journals, whether it was good, bad, and we literally just wrote anything. Like, it didn't have to be a script or anything like that. And I've actually found that for me is the best process, because then I don't feel a burden on anyone, and I don't have to trust anyone. It's just a notepad, and it's just for me. So yeah, we used to do that in every tournament. So that's definitely something, again, going back to that, how do we deal with it, that got us through tournaments, which is, for me, by far the hardest. It can be the hardest experiences, because it can go one or two ways.
Well, okay, you've brought it up, so let's talk about the tournament. I mean, you've talked about it so much, but we've got to bring it up because I'm here. How do you reflect on it now? Still, I mean, beaming ear to ear, I'm sure, still.
Yeah, 100%. Again, having learned from over the years and the experiences that I've been through, from the losses in finals to winning, I think I've learned to always be proud of those moments. My first experience of that was the Champions League final, which we lost, and you know, I remember it so clearly. I couldn't really look at the medal, and then I got home and my partner, he said, "Put that medal on now," and he was like, "You should be proud of that," and he was like, "You should always be proud. Like, you've achieved something that maybe some players will never achieve." And he's like, "Of course you want to win, but you should." You know, I really learned to reflect on moments and still be proud of them, even if they're seen to be a failure, or you know, we've not succeeded, but it's still an achievement, and it's still a position what not every player is able to get to. And that was similar to the World Cup, to be honest. It was a roller coaster, coming back from injury, not knowing if I was going to make the tournament, not make the tournament, then leading the girls out was like, one, I felt grateful for going to another World Cup. Secondly, I was leading the girls out, which is the biggest honour you could possibly do on the world's biggest stage. And then we made the final. So it just felt like we were hitting milestones all the time. So it was a lot to take on. But again, the journal, that's where that comes in, to keep you, you know, keep you on track, 2 feet on the ground. But yeah, I'm so proud of the World Cup and everything we went through as players. Again, experienced injuries, players not able to go to the tournament. Again, you feel a sense of guilt that you're going and they're not because of a major injury. So yeah, I'm still super proud, and yeah. I wouldn't change anything, because the girls gave absolutely everything that we could give, and yeah, it just wasn't sometimes that is football, and it's easy to say, harder to process, but yeah, I've definitely learned to reflect and yeah, appreciate the medals no matter what colour they are.
Yeah. Did Levi make you frame it, the match shirt and the medal, or is that sitting at a drawer in a drawer?
I actually gave my mum and dad. I've got my winner's shirt from the Euros, and they've got my medals are all in the cabinet. But I did give them the shirt, because I was like, that's me winning is how I give back to people that have sacrificed and helped along the journey. The World Cup one, I'm still actually, I need to get that framed, so you've just reminded me.
Oh, great. I'm adding to the to-do list.
But yeah, no, all medals are on show.
That's great.
Yeah. Team and individual, super proud of them, and yeah, it's also motivation to, if you get that opportunity again, to go one beyond.
With all this as well, you've got to remember you've spent a lot of time on the sidelines this season with injury. What's that like for ultimately your mental health? Because of course you're the leader and you're there. I know that you come in and you're so supportive. You want what's best for the girls, but you physically couldn't be on the pitch. Yeah. What's that battle like in your own head?
Horrible. I hate being on the sidelines. I hate not being able to contribute. And then I've had to manage, emotion of my injury. It's not been plain sailing. We've had good days, we've had bad days, we've had setbacks, and seeing your team struggle at times is the hardest thing, and not feeling like you can implement, or I can cheer all day long and I can keep shouting, you know, be a foghorn from the side, but ultimately you can't affect anything. So yeah, it was really difficult, but again, I've had to really balance my injury and staying present for the team, because I'm also not a person where when I get injured I just remove myself and say, oh, I'm injured, like it's not my problem, like I just can't do that. And obviously being captain, I have a responsibility to, you know, again, set an example and be the person that players can turn to help. You know, I felt like I needed to guide Neve and Erin, both young leaders, stepping up this season. I needed to make sure they had everything they had. And it's easy for people to always go, oh, Mill, you need to focus on your injury. I'm like, yeah, but my team. So it's like, if they
bigger
lose,
than just me.
I still lose. So if they win, we still win. Like, whether you're injured or not, you are a team. So yeah, I've just tried to make sure everything is in place off the pitch, so that when the girls are on it, it can be smooth sailing. And if it isn't, they know how to take care of that situation and be there for one another. And it's been a journey, but I think this season will, you know, put everyone in good stead in the future from what we've experienced. And yeah, from Neve and Erin, from their perspective as young leaders, I think will have gained a lot from this season as well.
I have no doubt, definitely. And having you there as well would have been so supportive. Now, look, coming in today, I think what I've got to say is it's you're on a little campus here. It's a little bubble and community. But what's that relationship like out of here with being recognised and with fame? Because that must have taken some getting used to, particularly when the Euros were happening and then suddenly, you know, matches being sold out at Wembley.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So what's that relationship like with fame?
Yeah, it's good. It was a shock to the system. I think we went into the Euros in one life, and then we came out and it was like, whoa, okay, kind of, I didn't leave the house for 6 days because I was a bit like, I just needed to breathe and process everything, and I don't think we fully understood what we were coming out to, because when you're in a tournament, you, as a team, you're in a little bubble, and we didn't really, you know, we were getting the messages from home and like, oh my God, the pubs are all sold out, like the streets are full of like England banners, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's amazing, but you're not actually experiencing it. So you come out and then all of a sudden it just hits you. Plus you're trying to process that you've just become European champions, which is unbelievable. And you're exhausted mentally and physically from the tournament and been away from home for so long. Even though we were in England, we were still in a bubble. So yeah, it was, you know, I think it hit some players harder than others, and, you know, it took some players a little bit longer to kind of process that life is very different now. Like, wherever you are, you're watched. You know, I think it was Tooney that got, she had a picture taken with a pasty, and she still laughs about it to this day. And she was like, oh my God, like now that's what's going to happen. Like, there's always someone peeping over your shoulder. So yeah, it was definitely a journey and, you know, a new experience, but also proud that we'd gotten the game to there. And that just comes with, you know, the big crowds, people know your name worldwide. And I had a lovely experience going back to my little village where the families are really respectful, because I've never had anything through the letterbox, even though they all know probably where I live. There's been nothing through my letterbox. And listen, we're not the men's game. We don't live behind big gates and we're not sealed off with security. Like, we are just normal people, like, living in normal places. So yeah, I came back and everyone was really respectful. Nothing came through the letterbox. There was no knocking on the door, but all the kids had hung the letters in the trees, and I just had to go around and collect them, and they'd got banners everywhere, and the community had printed out a really big banner of us lifting the trophy at Wembley. So it was a really nice touch to know that people had been watching and supporting, and all the kids. But I just found it really respectful that nothing had come through the letterbox, because ultimately that's, you know, my home, but equally that's Levi's home as well, and that's our privacy. And so yeah, it's we definitely get recognised more in the street as well. I might be walking the dogs and then people pop out of nowhere and can I have a picture, or, you know, whatever it might be. But yeah, it's still really respectful, and I think that's one thing that I really love about the women's game, is there still are boundaries, which I think are super important between player and fans, because at times we do need our personal space.
What about your relationship with social media?
Mixed. I think it's mixed experience. There's always good and bad, but every tournament I turn all socials off.
Yeah.
I've done that every single tournament, and I won't change doing that either. I think it's just because one, it can be a distraction. You can see too many positive messages. Oh, she's playing well, whatever it might be. But then equally, you have again the trolling side, which you make one mistake and you are hounded like by the whole world. So yeah, it comes with good and bads. But I did really enjoy turning it back on, seeing all the memories and, you know, everything that people's tagged you in and kind of all the good things that we got to miss out on. But yeah, I just always want to use my platform for the right reasons and to make sure that it's a place where people see good rather than the other side of it.
I know that you, as you said there, you love using your platform to help promote things, do things for the better. You also do some amazing work for another charity, Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
And I know that that's something exactly, look at that, you love it. Is there anything that you like, what is it about that makes you feel so great?
Just giving back. I love helping, I love giving back, I love, just helping in any way possible. And I think they're an amazing charity and what they do is exceptional. They work very closely with the club as well. So we get lots of little visits, so it's and I just think if you're in a position to give back and make a difference, then it baffles me why you would never take that opportunity. So I just always want to be seen to giving back, and I think I've also experienced things where people have helped me, so you know, you should help in other ways. And I think the world's bad enough in places, so we should make it as good as we can.
With it being Mental Health Awareness Week, we're helping support this charity, Campaign Against Living Miserably. You might have heard of it. But I wanted to ask you, you know, a lot of people, there are so many pressures in the world, social media, cost of living crisis, you know, and often a lot of them will experience suicidal thoughts. A lot of them will really struggle with anxiety. What would your piece of advice be to somebody who is afraid of reaching out?
I'd say similar to me, it doesn't have to be to a person. It can be a journal where if you don't have the confidence yet to speak out to someone, then use a journal to, you know, get your thoughts out and then read over them. And, you know, maybe you'll look back over it and have learnt a few things. And I think you can also see that as an achievement. So things that I look back on where I thought, oh, I could have dealt with that a little bit better, or that really affected me. And then you overcome that 6 months down the line. It's, you know, it gives you self-confidence that you've accomplished something. And I just think, keep believing in yourself, because there's no right or wrong way to live life or how you should be. You just have to be comfortable in your own skin and, make sure you live life the way you want to live it, because you only get one. Yeah,
I love that. I really love that. Now, this question I ask every guest, what does the word headstrong mean to you?
Oh. Well, immediately I go to my football brain, because I'm an athlete every single day, but... So I'll answer with that one first. Yeah. Headstrong, if I'm talking football, I'm just thinking domination, vocal. Body language as well is a big one for me. I think that plays a big part in mentality, and sometimes I might not feel the best in a game, but I can show that I'm feeling the best even if I'm actually not. And then as a person, I think headstrong would be... just mindset, like as an individual, like regardless of everyone else's opinions, life unfortunately is full of that, and they're always going to have their opinions. Everyone is equal to having their opinions, but I just think you waking up with the mindset that you want to have, like it's your body, it's your brain, like no one, like I said, can tell you how to live life. So headstrong would be your mindset in life and live it the way you want to live it. That's a great answer. I love it. Now, I was going to end there, but I just saw your tattoo. So I need to ask you a question. What character would you be in The Lion King if you could be one? Oh, Simba. There we go. Millie, thank you so much for joining me on Headstrong. Appreciate it a lot.